Shalom, shalom. This week's Parsha is Parshat Eikev. And I want to take a couple of minutes to discuss one of my all-time favorite sentences. And it appears in Eikev. And it is, read it in Hebrew and then we'll talk about it in English. Ki lo al lechem levado yechyeh ha'adam. And it's been defined as man cannot live on bread alone. And I've always loved it because if you think about it, and as it's been quoted for in this context, is that people can't just live for, you get by today, you work, you make money, you eat, and you go to sleep, and you wake up and do the same thing. You can't just go about your life that way. You need a deeper meaning. You need a why. You need something that drives you in life. And this is crucial, and it's very important. But I don't think that that's what this here is put to teach us in this context, because if you look about it, it says that it's talking about when Moshe was saying that they didn't have what to eat in the desert and God fed them the manna. And it says that after, in this context, God wanted you to see this and understand that it's not by bread alone that man lives, but, and this is the most important part, is what follows it, Ki al kol matzah pi Hashem yichyeh adam. Whatever emanates from the mouth of God, that will give life force to the man. And I think what it's trying to teach us here in this context, although I love the meaning of life and we all do need a meaning and purpose in life, is something else. The lesson here is, and I think this is very helpful to us, is that we have in our mind all sorts of ideas and all sorts of calculations on how we need to live in order to provide for our future, in order to have a future, in order to live. And we think we have to go to this school, we have to get this job, we have to live here, our kids, we need to make certain connections and all these things that we put in our mind, because if we do this, then we're ensuring our future, and people especially are with their bank accounts, they have to have X amount in the bank and X, Y, and Z. And God is trying to tell us that, there's a natural order of the world, and yes, things happen this way, and you should, live to have your best life to a certain degree without killing yourself, put in your effort. But what he's saying is don't worry so much. Don't concern yourselves so much. Don't think that life can only be successful if you follow in what you know. People say all the time, I'm a realist and I have to live in this world, and so therefore I have to do this, this, and this in order to ensure. No, that's not being realistic. What that's being is being foolish. What that's being is what is also told to us in this parsha is not to say kochi v'yotzim yadi, that it's the strength and might of my hand that that made me successful and able to get to where I am today. God's saying no. God helps you along the way when you're successful, and that's why you're successful. But God can help you in all sorts of ways, in things that you've never ever thought about, and you see it all the time. That not every time does things follow a pattern. People can do so-called all the right things and fail, or people could happen to do things, live in difficult situations where you think that person can never ever thrive, but somehow they didn't believe that story that was told them that they have to fulfill certain things they have to do in order to become successful, and they did things in a different way, but in a good way, in a God-fearing way, in a way where you're living your best life and doing things well and good, and they were successful in the end by other ways, other means, other things that if they would have told people ahead of time they're going to do X, Y, and Z, they'll say, you're going to fail. That's not going to work. But it's not true, because it's what God wants. And if God wants you to be successful, you'll be successful. If God doesn't want you to be successful, you won't be successful. And I think we have to redefine this term success also. Success doesn't just come in one picture. It comes in all different pictures. And I think if we really examine life, and we really examine what is a good life, what is a successful life, what is our purpose, what is the not bread alone that we're living here for, and we try and follow in that way, and we do the best we can in that way, God will help us to be successful by any means that he sees necessary. Everything that is because it emanates from the mouth of God, and you can't change that based on making all sorts of calculations how you're going to force something to work. That's believing in your own power. That's making you a God. You do the best you can. You try, you have a plan, and you try to be successful and living a good, productive life. And give it up to God. Give it up to God. And whatever emanates from his mouth will be. And hopefully, and we're told, we're actually promised that if we try and live our best life, being good people, following in his instructions, moral ethic, everything like this, life will be good. Shabbat Shalom.